on Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. I call this meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. Verification of public notice. The meeting was publicly noticed. Verification of a quorum. We have 6 of the 7 board members here in attendance. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the one change? 5B will now turn into 2B, and 2B will turn into 2C. All right. So again, 5B will turn into 2B now, and 2B will turn into 2C. So will someone like to be able to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the following changes?
Dr. Vito, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Someone's on mute.
No, I'm not on mute. I was having problems earlier, but I'm definitely not on mute anywhere.
Can anybody hear?
Someone else can make the motion. Kara.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the edits.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. The motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. The motion has been made and seconded. Any conversation? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. And we can now go to our mission statement. Together with our families and community, we will inspire students to be passionate learners, creative thinkers, and innovative leaders who enrich our world. All right, let's move on now to item number 2, engage board and community to lead. Dr. Kelsey Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. First on the next item on our agenda is the second presentation we will have this evening regarding strategic planning. Just an update for the community. Our strategic plan expires next year, June 30th, 2023. So we are positioning ourselves accordingly to prepare for strategic planning as we move forward to advance the mission and vision of our district. Tonight, we have Ms. Kathleen Cook and Mike Gallagher, who will be presenting on behalf of KCMG International, LLC. And I will turn the presentation over to Kathy and Mike.
Thank you so much. We're pleased to be able to be with you this evening. Just a very brief overview of potential for working with questions. So we're going to do all that in 10 minutes. So we'll be really moving here. Our background is kind of unique. Michael and I are business partners. We're also partners in life. He's my husband. And so we've had very interesting conversations about schools being businesses. I am a retired superintendent, 23 years in the Hamilton School District. Michael has that same amount of experience in the business world. And traveled all over the world. He's been a business owner. He's been on corporate boards and has donated his entire life to planning and development and focusing on results. As a superintendent, strategic planning was really critical to the work that we did and helped us move, when I was in Hamilton, from a position where we were performing below the state average to one of the highest performing school districts in the state of Wisconsin. In our semi-retirement, we have been honored to be able to help design and then implement and facilitate the first-year Superintendent's Academy for all the new superintendents in Wisconsin. And we've been doing that since 2016-17. And then we also work with individual school districts for planning purposes. We do not do one and done types of workshops because we believe that there's not a lot of carryover or implementation. So what differentiates us from other teams that you might look at would be the work not only with the planning team, but then the work with your administrative team at the end of the planning process to actually implement and to ensure that something happens with the work. So just a couple of quick items in terms of the process that we would facilitate. Want to begin with the why. Any of you who read Simon Sinek know you always start with why do you do things first? And you do strategic planning because it engages your community together to define the path that you want for your children. So it's the board, it's the administrative team, it's staff members, it's parents, it's the business community, it's community members at large, and even student representatives. So it'd be this large group coming together, 30 or 35 people, and there would be a series of 6 meetings. 3 of them, everybody commits to, and then there's also a small group that is like the work group that takes the ideas, the large group develops and then fleshes them out and then brings them back. To have 35 people start to write sentences and draft everything would be days and days of work. So we have a work group. So we would ask the board members to commit to being at 3 of these meetings, that you'd be a part of the community planning team. And during that process, the first meeting, you'd start to look at what's coming in the future for our kids. And we would do a presentation for you about, we call it 2030 thinking. What's the world going to be like that we have to prepare our kids for? And there are handouts and things that we would give you from some of the research and literature that would be helpful to you. We also would do an analysis or data dive, whatever you want to call it, about the district's current status so that you're all on the same wavelength. And we would celebrate things that are successes, but we also would pose challenging questions about achievement and your current status to help you to dig deeply about things such as achievement gaps, or about, are we preparing kids so that they all have the maximum opportunities? Or are we making decisions that are shortchanging them and guiding them into paths where maybe their other potential is not being fulfilled? We would conduct what's called a SWOT analysis and a PESTLE analysis. Those are terms that are used in business, but it's basically to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'd look at things that are coming from a political standpoint, an economic standpoint, technological standpoint. What do you need to be prepared for in this school district in order to really maximize the potential of your students? We also would ensure that as you are working forward, that you would look at your current mission and vision in light of your achievement data and in light of what we need to prepare our students for in the future. We would help you identify what are the core beliefs that are going to be your operating principles, your non-negotiables, things like some districts say in terms of their non-negotiables, that they want to ensure that every child is going to have the greatest opportunities every day, or that we're going to use the best practices in educational research to ensure the success of every learner. We will help you develop performance objectives so that you will actually measure progress when you are all finished. We want to be able to answer, how will you know if things are going to be different? And so you'll measure against some of those. As an example, this district that we worked with said the high school graduation rate is going to be among the highest among all of the bordering school districts. Another one said that the percentage of kids scoring proficient and advanced is going to increase by 10 percentage points, so that there are more kids that are being successful and prepared into the future. And then finally, we will help you develop strategies. Those are the overarching things that would be your focus. So things like educational quality and the culture, continuous improvement and monitoring progress, personnel excellence, what do staff need in terms of professional development and so on. What are the business and financial performance areas we need to target, and then also in terms of customer care and communications. Those will be the areas that we would help you focus on to develop what you need to move forward. Then finally, we would help your administrative team and staff members focus on implementing in the classrooms what has to happen by name and by face to ensure that every child is going to be able to have the best opportunity and to meet their maximum potential. We will help finally then develop a timeline that would be reported back to the board after this community group decides and brings a recommendation for your action about this is the direction we believe the Brown Deer schools need to go. Then you need to have progress reports either 2, 3, 4 times a year, whatever you decide. I'm going to turn now the microphone to Michael for some concluding comments, and then we would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
This is the way it normally goes. I get a minute, she gets like 9. But 1987, I'm a movie fan. 1987 movie came out called The Untouchables. And it had Costner and De Niro and Garcia and Sean Connery. And I don't know if anybody saw it up here, but it's a story of Elliot Ness and Al Capone in Chicago. And Elliot Ness running all over Chicago, trying to get Al Capone out of Chicago. And for the first half of the movie, Al Capone thwarts Elliot Ness at every turn. Makes him look foolish to the point that he was going to go back to Washington, pack his bags and leave. There's a moment though where Connery is in a church and he's up in the front pew and he's saying prayer. Costner comes up, kneels next to him, says, I can't do it anymore, I gotta go. He's beaten me, I can't take it. And Connery looks at him and said, and Connery is nothing but, he's a beat cop. He's nothing stupendous, but he says to me, he looks at me, he says, and what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do about it? It's a turning point in the movie. It's a turning point of how they end up getting Al Capone for tax evasion in Chicago. So I'll leave it with that topic. Strategic planning is about what you're prepared to do about it. It's not about anything else. How do you get with the community? How do you put that team together? How do you bury some of the things that you may not like about your neighbor? How do you put it behind you so that you become a team? And for the kids of the community, you make the best plan, you put the best numbers on the board, and then you put a plan over 5 years to get there. So I'll leave you one last time. What are you prepared to do about it?
If you should choose to want to work with us, we would be honored to support you and your community in a journey to help to identify the future that you want for your children. Thank you.
Board members, questions for the team that you may have in relationship to the presentation and the MOU that has been presented to us. Actually, I have a question. I'm looking at item 2E and 2F, where we talk about we identifying 40 individuals, whether community members, school personnel, basically all of our stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I look at is meetings number 1, 3, and 5. How long do you think that those meetings would actually need to take place in order for us to be efficient?
We would work with you and your team to identify what's going to work best for your group. Usually they're 3 to 4 hours. We start about 4, have a little light lunch while we're working, and we're done by 7 or 8.
All right, and then would we be setting up the dates and the times, or would this be something that you would want to be able to facilitate?
We would work with your calendar about what works with you, and we just have to make sure that we would be clear with our calendar. So the scale of opportunities is really endless. Usually people do them over a couple of month period. You'll see in the document, Michael mentions
It's normally,
September to December.
it's normally about a semester of work that this takes place over.
So the community group, as an example, might come, I'm making it up, September, October is the work team, November is the big group again, and then December and so on.
Thank you. Board member, any other board members have any questions? Miss Ashley?
Yes, I just have a question. Thank you so much for your presentation. Can you talk a little bit about other districts that you've worked with in terms of strategic planning?
Michael, jump into, I would say the majority of districts that we have worked with are very focused on working collaboratively so that it's on behalf of kids. There have been diverse ideas, diverse politics, but the one thing that everyone has had in common has been the welfare of children. And so we ask people to come together at the beginning in goodwill. We have some meeting ground rules that we get everybody to agree to so that we can all work collaboratively. There are varying degrees of energy and belief in the value of the plan. Those that really are excited and see this as a way for good things to be developed for kids seem to have more energy in the meetings and accomplish more. Where there has been great strife, it can derail the process. And there have been a couple of districts that we knew going in likely wouldn't finish the plan, and they didn't. And all the parties changed positions and those types of things. Does that kind of get at what you're asking?
Maybe I should clarify and just ask to name some of the schools that you have done strategic planning or with.
Sure, a couple of them recently, Oconomowoc, Nicolay, Reedsburg, those are in the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Any other, Ms. Peterson?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Vito. Can you guys hear me okay? I know we're having problems with this Chromebook, but hopefully you can hear me. I'm just curious to know what the cost would be associated with what you're offering to us. Is that something that you can answer or go into a little bit today along with your presentation?
I think you asked about the cost that would be associated. I couldn't hear real well, but Michael, do you want to address that? There are actually two aspects.
They don't have a mic. Would you like her to ask with the microphone, or do you have it? Or?
I think the cost is what you wanted, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Oh, so we don't have any documents.
No, they didn't.
Article
Okay.
3 has costs? Okay,
Article 3 covers the costs. And it's basically for strategic planning and tactical planning. It's a combo. It's $8,500. For strategic planning, it's 45, that's split. Strategic is 4,500 and the follow-up tactical work, which is important, is $4,000.
thank you for summarizing
You're
that.
welcome.
Now that you say that and they remind me, I did read that earlier, so I appreciate it.
No problem.
Any other board members have any other questions for the team? Hearing and seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. And we will definitely be reading through the MOU and be having further discussion. So thank you for taking time out, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on now to item 2B, discussion and approval of the Strive 365 research project.
Thank you, Dr. Vito. Good
We'll
evening.
clear out here quickly.
Good evening, everyone. As you all well know, Strive 365, or the board approved a partnership with Strive 365 to support our students this year, both at the middle and the high school.
Everybody doing?
We
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Man, I'm sorry. How's
okay.
everybody doing?
Give me 1 second, Dr. Curry. Let me.
So,
Okay, it's all right. That's okay. Go ahead, Dr. I wanted to tee it up for you. Can you hear me? Okay, let me do it like this.
Dr. Kelsey Brown, I don't think they can hear you for some of, they don't have a mic, they don't have headsets on, so.
I just wanted to tee it up for you.
okay, thanks.
Good evening again, everyone. This is the Strive, the amazing Strive 365 team. As you all know, those of you that have been on the board with us for a while, the board approved the partnership with Strive 365 for the 21-22 school year, where they were actually in our building. Mr. Craig Nash is here most, who was in our buildings here to support our students around mentoring and regulation in terms of behaviors with our students this year. So as Strive 365 continues to expand their organization, they are now looking to conduct a research project using or utilizing stakeholders in our community, students in particular, with parents' permission. And they will share that information with you this evening. And I did submit a letter supporting the research project, but we know this is also pending board approval. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Dr. Curry, who is a Brown Deer grad. Let him introduce his team and take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Class of 98, by the way. So I'll begin just by doing some introductions of our team here. Right here, we have Melissa Murphy, who's our Director of Public Health. And then we have Craig Nash and Kadeem Batts, they're our program managers. So they'll both be here implementing the program here at Brown Deer. They were here this year and they'll be back again next year. And then we have Cody Hollowell, who's he's our Director of Development, also handles all of our legal situations. He's an attorney as well. And then we have Dr. John Moyer from Medical College of Wisconsin, who's also the principal investigator for the study. Similar to what the group just said, the question is the why. So why are we here or wanting to do the study? And it really comes back to creating a platform that'll offer insights into the well-being of where the students currently are. So you've heard the phrase, meet them where they are. Our goal is to continue to build the relationships and have an impact or connection with the great things already happening here at Brown Deer. So being a former alum, I'm extremely passionate about Brown Deer, what's happened here in the past and what continues to happen. And I feel sorry for those students and families that don't get to experience the Brown Deer culture, to be honest. A few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to do the commencement speech, to be the speaker at the graduation. And I looked out into the audience and I saw myself there 20-something years ago. And I was like, those days look different than today. Where would I be if I didn't come to this school? And I looked at those kids and I said, through all the challenges and obstacles currently we're all facing, because they came to Brown Deer, they are prepared for those next steps. So what we do as an organization is just offer a platform and additional layers of support to the great things already happening. And the research study will just create more insight into those things while also helping to create proactive approaches moving forward.
whenever we do a research study, we have to start with a simple research question. What is it that we want to know? Well, we want to know whether Strive programming increases resiliency and social emotional skills for the kids in your district. Because we're already working with these kids and teachers, we just ask them, well, what do you think about Strive so far? What is it that you need from us? What are you seeing from your kids? So your teachers said they're already seeing positive relationships with students. They're working on goal setting and career planning. They've seen improvement in self-awareness. They're asking for increased professional development from us and general increased programming. So basically, one school administrator said, what we want, Strive is already doing. When we talked to your kids, a middle school student used the word growth mindset. He didn't know what that was before. And then your high school student talked about being a leader and not a follower. But he used the word catch yourself. And catch is actually an acronym for our behavioral change process. They're already starting to use our language. So we're really looking forward to a research study, and Dr. Moyer will talk about our design and what that will look like as far as operationalizing.
Thank you, Mel. So this research project is a partnership, and we have approval from the Medical College of Wisconsin Institutional Review Board. Their responsibility is to ensure the rights and protections for the school and for the families and youth that are served here. So I want to share just 7 important steps to what this research protocol means for your school and families. The first thing is advertising, raising awareness, letting the faculty, the staff, the parents, the students know that it's happening, the programs and the evaluation. The second is getting the consent of the parents. The Strive staff will be responsible for that. They're trained appropriately to seek that informed consent. And the parents will be consenting for their youth to do surveys, to maybe be in an interview or focus group. And the parents also allowing us to see their academic records, their grades, their attendance, and linking it to their survey results. So with parents' permission, voluntarily, then we would next approach the students. Every student in the class will get either peak team or brain agents or both, but only those who volunteer to participate will get in the surveys. So in August, September, we'll get consent from parents. In October, we'll do the first surveys of the participating students only. All the students who participate grade 5 through 9. And then we have the programs. And you can see on this chart, different programs for different classes in different periods. It's called block randomization. And that's the way we show that the programs are having the impact that we're hoping for. So 5th grade in the fall, a comparison group. They don't get the services or programs. But in the spring, the 5th graders will get brain agents, a game that's complementary in the impact that it has on behavior, attitudes, lifestyle, wellness. 6th graders will get peak team in the fall, and they won't get any services. They'll get a comparison group in the spring. And the 7th graders in the spring, they get both peak team and brain agents. And you can see the remaining services that vary by grade and time of the year. So we'll be doing surveys not only in October at baseline, but we're going to do them again in December. What happened? We'll do them again in May. 3rd set of surveys. They take about 10 minutes. And then we'll have about 15 youth in grades 5 through 7 who will participate in a focus group to talk with us about their experience. We'll have youth who are 8th and 9th grade who will interview with us. And that'll be about 15 students total in those 2 classes. And then we will have all the data that we need to evaluate the program. We'll share preliminary results with leaders at the school in January, with all of you in July or August. We'd love to come back and share what we learned. And then of course, we'll share with the parents and community what we learned and use the information to continually improve our programs.
That's it. Anybody have any questions? Yep.
All right, I actually have a question. Since this is a research study, will this be, after you get finished doing this, will this be published?
We hope so. You know, science means sharing, generalizing what we learn. So it's not only for the benefit of Brown Deer School, but you can see St. Francis, Milwaukee Academy of Science, Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy involved. But we hope to learn and benefit not only in improving the Strive 365 programs, but what can we share with others across our country? So we would aim to submit this to a scientific journal for education in hopes that folks would benefit from what we learn about our youth, their needs, how we respond to them, the effectiveness of the program, and that people would want to replicate the approach of Strive 365, Pink Team and Brain Agents in their own communities.
Thank you. The board members, questions? Ms. Ashley.
Yeah, the consent form for the parents, the assent form for the students, and the surveys will all be done electronically using a REDCap secure data system. Yep.
Other board members, questions? Yes. Let's make it.
The questions that you will be presenting to each one of the groups.
Yep, we have a list, and that's one of the documents that you can look through and see the survey for the Pink Team participants, the survey for the brain agents, and it's voluntary. And students are instructed and their parents know that they can skip an item. So if there's something they don't feel comfortable answering, that's okay. And if they want to stop at any time, they can stop as well. It's purely voluntary. Well, we seek their identity. They would share that information with us when they complete the survey. Then we have that information at the medical college. We link the surveys 1, 2, and 3. We link the school records, and then we strip the identifiers, their name, their school address, any unique identifiers. So when we give reports, they'll be completely de-identified. Even the schools themselves will be de-identified. And we might be able to give information back to you for your own benefit, but they will never have the identity of any individual student. How do we choose the students? All of the students will be offered the opportunity for their parents to participate, and it's up to them whether or not they want to participate in the research. But whether or not they participate in the evaluation, they all can get the programs and services of Strive.
Board members, I do want to bring your attention on each one of our desks. There is a folder from Strive 365 that has all of the information, the questions, everything, all of the other documentation that they'll be looking at and be sharing and evaluating off of. So I just want to let you know that the information is actually here in the folder as well too, for you to be able to look at. Any other board members have any other questions for the team?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, or one in particular. I'll say, how many students will be participating?
How many students?
Yeah, how many students will it be?
It's so however many choose to participate, grades 5 through 9. So I'm not sure the exact number, what it will be next year, but I think it's, Dr. Brown, how many per grade? 150? Well, it's not 450 to 500 if they all participate. So it just depends on consent and how many participate, but up to 450 or 500.
The questions,
Okay.
Ms. Robinson?
No, I was just remembering, one question I had, I already know the answer to, so that's fine. Thank you.
Other board members, questions for Dr. Curry or anyone on this team? Hearing and seeing none. Hey, excellent presentation. We look forward to learning a little bit more and being able to discuss this and man, being able to make sure that this happens. I think it'll be exciting. I think it's a worthwhile endeavor and definitely want to be able to see what the results of this looks like or whatever. So yeah.
Appreciate it. I'm still waiting on my t-shirt. All right, thank you.
So Dr. Beadle, Dr. Beadle, we're looking for a approval of a vote from the board on this one, discussion and approval for this one?
Okay. Yeah, because it was 5.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? So Stacey, you know what? Let's do this. Lisa, you want to make it? Yeah, 5A. So this is an approval. 5A. Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to approve the Strive 365 Inc. research project as presented.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? Ms. Macon is seconded. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion before we go to vote? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. All right, Strive 365. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on now to our next item. I'm sorry. All right, let's go on to our next item right now. Approval of the 2022-23 Wisconsin Association of School Board WASB membership. Dr. Kelsey Brown?
Actually, I can do that one.
Or is it, okay, Mr. Clemick?
Yep,
Thank
that's fine. Yeah, just to let you know, so this is the association that you guys are the members of, so it's only right that you decide that you want to continue to be members of it and just do the formal approval process of that. So we've attached the invoice and just letting you know what the membership benefits are for the WASB.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion?
Dr. Beadle, I'd like to make a motion to
Thank
approve
you very
the,
much.
okay,
Go ahead. You froze somehow.
okay, let me start all over. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 Wisconsin Association of School Boards membership as presented here tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ashley. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Vito, I'll second. This is Anita.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. All right, hearing and seeing none. All in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to our next item. Let's go on to our business office reports. Mr. Clemick.
Good evening. Very briefly, I don't have a formal presentation tonight, but I did just want to let you know a couple of things that we are working on. We are in the process of contracts and notices of assignment renewals for 22-23. We have had a number, the statutory deadline for teachers to approve or reject a teaching contract is tomorrow, June 15th. So we are seeing a flurry of activity of staff members signing their contracts. So we're going through that just to make sure we are fully staffed come this fall. I'm also in the process of working heavily on the budget presentation, which I will have for you in 2 weeks. There'll be 2 parts to that. We'll actually be making some budget amendments to the 21-22 budget just to finalize some things that changed since October when you approved the previous version. And then I'll also have the preliminary budget for you to approve as well for 22-23. And then finally, just to let the board know, one of the things that we have talked about over the last several months is a food service van. And I just received this afternoon a quote from one of the dealers that is used in the state purchasing program. So the state negotiates on a number of large ticket items that they assign to certain vendors. And in this case, there's a particular dealership that deals with cargo vans. I have a proposal for purchasing the van. It's just under $30,000 for purchase price. So I'm going to move forward with that. I'm going to let them know that we're going to be we will be purchasing it, but I will have to get formal board approval before we actually do the purchase. It is, as with a lot of new vehicles, they're hard to come by. So this will be a 2023 model when they are released later this summer. So we probably won't see the van until September or October, but we will be in line and we will make sure we get one to assist with our food service delivery. Were there any questions about any of those topics?
Board members, questions for Mr. Clemming in relationship to his business office report? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Clemming. Let's go on now to item B, approval of new hires. Mr. Clemming.
Okay, we are very excited this evening to announce that we have hired James Young as the new middle school principal, who replaces Ms. Pitchford coming up. So we're very excited. So we have a contract in front of you, and I believe Mr. Young is here and may be available to say hi and introduce himself real briefly. So.
Hi, my name is Jim Young. I'm really excited to come around here middle school. I have about 10 years of leadership experience in team roles, school and network level, mostly in the city of Milwaukee, including at Concord Northwest, but I've been in West Allis over the last few years, West Allis Central, as people there. So really impressed with everyone that I've met throughout this process. Fantastic building. Couldn't be any more excited to get started. So just wanted to say thank you. I'm really excited about being here and being part of around here.
So then in front of you is the contract. It is an administrator. It's a 2-year contract for the 2022 through 2024.
All right, would someone like to be able to make a motion to approve the employment agreement for James Young as middle school principal?
Dr. Vito, I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement for James Young as a middle school principal effective July 1st, 2022.
All right, thank you very much. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second Dr. Vito.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made and seconded.
If I could ask you, can you just clarify that it's for the 2022 through 2024? 2022, 2023, and the 23-24 school years. Just to clarify, it's a 2-year contract.
So it needs to go from July 1, 2022 through
June 30th, 2024.
June 30th.
2024, correct.
All right. All right, you know, so let's do this, since we've already made the motion. Again, just for clarification, it is effective July 1, 2022 through June 30th of 2024. All right. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor with raised hand and/or aye? All right. All right. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Board members Robinson and Macon, could you turn your cameras on, please? I don't mind unless my internet said it was unstable, but otherwise people are actually frozen and
I can see Miss Macon.
I know.
And who else were you unable to see?
Miss Robinson. I don't see Miss Ross, Miss Smitska. Yeah, mine is.
You must be frozen.
Dr. B, you want to try to go out and come back in?
Because mine actually had told me it was unstable connection before. So let me try this. Let me try this little trick right here. Oh, didn't work. Okay. All right. Let's move forward.
You didn't say the motion was approved or anything.
Yes, I did. 6-0. Yes. All right. Let's go on to our next item, approval of resignations. Mr. Clemming.
And again, because of where we are in the timeline for teachers to approve contracts, we do have a slate of resignations this evening for staff who have decided to take advantage of other opportunities. So the list in front of you includes Rachel Ford as a 3rd grade teacher, Amanda Marks as a 3rd grade teacher, both at the elementary school, Jesselyn Carls as an English teacher at the middle school, Maxwell Krajnik and Monica Scharfenberger, special education teachers at the middle school, Nathan Gevlinger, high school social studies teacher, Yingping Sung, the engineering teacher at the high school, Kyle Sweeney, the math teacher at the high school. And we're also including tonight Jose Winston, one of our SEL support staff members, who was also our head basketball coach at the time.
Just a point of clarification, Kyle Sweeney is middle school math.
My apologies. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have a slate. So would someone like to be able to start off with approving the resignation of Monica Scheffenberger?
Dr. Vito, I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Monica Scharfenberger as the middle school special education teacher effective June 6, 2022.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? Someone seconded? Oh. All right, Ms. Macon, you second? All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, raise hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Monica well on her next endeavor. All right, someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Jocelyn Carrolls.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Jesselyn Carrolls as the middle school English teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Vito, I'll second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Jesselyn well on her next endeavors. All right, let's go on with a motion to approve the resignation of Jose Winston.
I would like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Jose Winston as a social emotional learning coach effective June 3rd, 2022.
All right, thank you very much. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Who's the second?
I'll second Dorothea Macon.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Only discussion for this one with Mr. Winston is he is actually leaving to become the assistant head coach of the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee Panthers for basketball. So yes, we congratulate him on that right there. Definitely. All right. So with the discussion, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye? Motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Jose well on his future endeavors. All right. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Maxwell Kranjnik?
I would like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Maxwell Kranjnik as middle school special education teacher effective June 6, 2022.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Mr. Vito, I'd like to, or Dr. Vito, I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you very much, Ms. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Macon. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Maxwell well on his future endeavors. All right, so would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Rachel Ford?
Dr. Vito, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Rachel Ford as an elementary school teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Macon. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion, Dr. Vito.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye? All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. Good luck to Rachel in future endeavors. All right, would someone like to make the motion to approve the resignation of Amanda Marks?
Dr. Vito, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Amanda Marks as an elementary school teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Macon. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Vito, I'll second.
All right, Ms. Peterson, thank you very much. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Amanda well. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Nathan Gevlinger? Yep, you muted, Lisa.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Nathan Geblinger as high school social studies teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I can second that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with a raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Nathan well. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Kyle Sweeney?
I will make a motion to approve the resignation of Kyle Sweeney as middle school math teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion, Dr. Beadle. This is
Thank you very
Felita.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Kyle good luck on future endeavors. All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Yuping Song?
I'll make a motion. You've got it.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the resignation of Yuping Song as high school science teacher effective June 6, 2022.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion, Dr. Vito.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. We wish Young Ping much success on future endeavors. All right. Let's go on now to our item number D. Mr. Klimek of Aramac Port.
Yes, okay, so we have two parts to this evening. We are we're just finishing the third year of our 5-year agreement with Aramark to serve as our food service vendor. So they'll be presenting a report, just kind of going with a year in review. And then afterwards, I just do need board approval for the renewal agreement for year 4, which includes a 3% increase in the way that our contract is designed. So we'll do that after the year in review. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Molly Borton and Michelle Anderson, and I'm going to share my screen for the presentation.
Thanks, Kevin. I am Molly. I'm joining virtually tonight, just slightly under the weather. So, and Michelle, I know, is in person. So we are going to tag team present just a little presentation to summarize this past year in review. So the 21-22 school year in review, as well as looking ahead to the 22-23 school year and what's to come. So go ahead. All right. So looking at the school year in review, I'm just going to look at it on my screen so I can see fully. Okay. We were able to serve the curbside meals through, and when we say this, the school year, the contract year really runs from July to June. So we're going to sort of look at that as a whole. So we were able to serve curbside meals thanks to some DPI waivers from July of last summer through when the school year ended in this June. So those were meals that families were able to pick up twice a week, and we served a week's worth of food at once. So we did that really ever since the pandemic began. So it was a long Hall a couple years of being able to do that, and fed a lot of families through that program. Breakfast and lunch remained free for all students at all grade levels in Brown Deer, thanks to some DPI waivers. And so that was something that we were thankful to be able to feed all students free of charge. Additionally, we were able to reintroduce some entree options at all the grade levels. We had sort of thinned out some of the menus for streamlining purposes due to sort of the COVID protocols, and also at one point delivering to classrooms at the elementary school for lunch. So our menus looked a little bit just thin compared to usual. So we've been able to add some additional menu items back into the rotation, and I know kids have been really excited about that. In addition, we reintroduced a la carte purchases for students. These would be items for extra charge that students have the option of presenting or of purchasing. They would need to have funds in their account in order to purchase. So it's optional, but still a nice perk to be able to offer to students. We will continue that into next year. We were also able to introduce a snack program, which is a great opportunity through the DPI as well. We do hope to continue that, but again, it was an opportunity for a nutritious meal, sort of a third meal that kids could have after school, again, free of charge. And the school was able to receive reimbursement for the food served for that. So we did that at all grade levels for varying amounts of time. We also had the opportunity of doing a variety of caterings, which were sort of quiet for a while during COVID, and rightfully so. So Michelle was able to put together some wonderful caterings for the district that I know, various staff members have been able to enjoy. So we always enjoy doing those. We also purchased a hydroponic garden. So we'll share some pictures about our garden. Fork Farms is a company out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. So it's a local company. This is a unit that was purchased and yields a lot of lettuce that we get to feed to students. So that's just one item that we can grow within our unit. And again, we'll share some pictures of that. And lastly, just sharing a little bit about supply chain challenges that any of us who have been to a grocery store lately or have eaten out in the past, 6 months or a year know that it's tough to get, everything that's on the menu. There's shortages, there's issues with receiving trucks. So we'll briefly talk about that and how we've navigated that within the district to make sure that we're still providing the proper meals to all the students. You can flip. Okay. So I did reference a couple of the USDA waivers that have been available. So again, thanks to the DPI or the USDA at a federal level, there were many things that we were able to do that were sort of atypical. So we were able to serve free meals to all students, regardless of eligibility. So that included breakfast and lunch. And again, in this case, also snack. The district was able to receive higher reimbursement rates for each of those meals. So more money back on each meal in order to make sure that we are covering all of our increase in labor and food costs and direct costs, things like that. There also was some flexibility in terms of the types of products that we serve. So if we weren't able to get whole grain hamburger buns as an example, because of supply chain issues, there were waivers that existed for that allowed us to serve a substitute item without being penalized or not getting reimbursed for those meals. So there were a large sum of waivers that were available, but moving forward, the path looks like we will be going back to meals based on eligibility for the 22-23 school year. That is subject to change, but as of now, it's looking like students will be paying either a quote unquote full price meal, a reduced or a free meal based on eligibility requirements. So that's what we're looking at moving forward. And then I'm going to let Michelle, who's our on-site food service director, does a fantastic job. I'm going to let her talk about a little bit of our sort of innovation and different sort of feature items that we do on the next slide here.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, can everybody hear me first of all? My name is Michelle Anderson, and like Molly said, I'm the food service director here in Brown Deer. I came on board mid-October of the school year, and I'm very excited to be here. One of the things that I love to do is introduce new recipes, theme days, so to speak, to get the kids excited about eating lunch. We've done several of those theme meals, tailgate meals for the Super Bowl, the Brewers opening day, where we had chili dogs, boneless wings, baked beans, chips, things like that. We also celebrated National Breakfast Week. And instead of your typical breakfast fare that they get in the mornings, we served them donuts with their scrambled eggs, which of course they all loved. We even celebrated Star Wars Day and had some fun with our lunch names. So instead of boneless wings, we served thermal detonators. Instead of fries, we had Vader taters, things like that. One thing I really do enjoy doing is offering a fun side before a break. So before winter break, for instance, every kid who got a lunch that day got a holiday sprinkle cookie across all 3 locations. I also like to offer what we call a sidekick, which the kids call ice cream, but it's actually all fruit. So it's good for them, but they don't realize it. We'll continue to do those things. Mexican offerings on Tuesdays are very popular, of course, walking tacos, but we've elevated that to also offer Korean beef tacos, Mexican street corn. Those were all big hits. So that's where my passion lies, is finding new ways to introduce the students to new flavors that they may not have experienced before.
Awesome. So sort of piggybacking on Michelle's comments, we one of the things we love to do is introduce different global flavors. So maybe kids eating things that maybe they don't try at home, or maybe families aren't used to cooking at home, or maybe fit in right with the cuisines that they're used to eating at home. So we really make an effort to sort of travel and do some different global flavors on the menu, be it Moroccan or Peruvian. Those were sort of some studies showed that those were the fastest growing cuisines in 2021. So we featured entrees that sort of fit within that realm. We're always looking to add new recipes to our compliant database so that we can offer students various limited time offer meals or National Food Day celebrations, whatever the case may be. If there is a recipe for it, we're willing to try it. So we're always taking suggestions from kids too. We recognize that there are certain students that love, maybe sweet and spicy, or there's certain students that aren't used to eating that depending on their palate. So we really try to make an effort to diversify the menu on a regular basis. And even though there are students that love, maybe chicken tenders and fries on a daily basis, they can have that too. But they may also, try something sort of special and different. So being in school gives them the opportunity to try that. So I will pass on to Michelle now.
Okay, the next slide is about our Fork Farms hydroponic farms. I'm going to be honest with you, when I first started and they mentioned hydroponic farms, I was extremely nervous because I do not have a green thumb. And I thought, for goodness sake, I'm going to kill these poor plants. But hydroponic farming is actually very simple, as I discovered this spring. My kitchen manager and I actually built the 2 units that we have. They are still upright, so I'm proud of that. We had a lot of fun. We grew 3 different kinds of lettuce in those farms, and it was fun for both the students and myself and our staff to watch what we affectionately called our babies grow every single day. About a month after planting, we harvested quite a bit of lettuce. We created stickers that said lettuce. We called it Falcon Farm lettuce. It was on all of our salads. We used it on our sub sandwiches along with fresh tomatoes. The kids were excited to see something that was growing in their school now on their plates. We also look forward to growing our own herbs in the fall, so we can make our own salsa. We can add them to pasta sauce on our pizzas. We can even make our own pesto sauce. We have a new food processor, so I'm really looking forward to finding all different things all different uses for that. We're looking to expand possibly the amount of veggies that we can grow. So I'm looking forward to the collaboration with Fork Farms and offering even more farm to table vegetables on our menus.
All right. So another thing we wanted to reference was a student viewpoint survey. So this was something that happened in February of this year. And the idea is to, it's a survey that Airmark puts out. And the idea is to get feedback from either students or families based on the level or the age of the kids. And we value this feedback. The idea is to help understand what kids want, what they're seeing that they like, what they don't like. It's specific to each district. So, we would get the feedback for Brown Deer's data and figure out what kids are like are enjoying at each grade level and what they maybe want to see differently. So we certainly, the students are our customers and we want to make sure that we're meeting their needs within reason. So some of the different topics that we focused on within the survey were, what are your favorite foods? The different satisfaction within the cafeteria, communication preferences, so how families like to receive, be it the menu or different announcements from food service, things like that, what attracts them, to eating our food, and what maybe is something that's a deterrent. So it's something that we value, and we get to gather this feedback and then put it into action. There's no better. We don't know if we don't hear about it. So we always say that surveying the kids is really the most valuable data that there is. And it's something that we do once a year. So we'll do it again next spring or late winter. And again, put that feedback into action. So. All right. So I just wanted to comment briefly on some meal numbers. So we always sort of look at year over year, especially given we can now compare sort of 2 school years when meals have been all free. So we sort of have a control in that sense that we can look at years that were somewhat similar in terms of the opportunity for students. So we broke it down into breakfast, lunch, and then snack, which was new this year. So we always look to gain participation year over year. Of course, depending on enrollment within a school district, that can be either work for us or against us in terms of opportunities. But we did see some growth within breakfast. And these are total meals served again from July of 2021, in this case, through June of the following year. So through this June. So this is a working total for the 2021 numbers. We're not quite done in June here. So these will tally up a bit. And then lunch, you can also see, again, we're going to be counting summer meals yet. So this number will also trend up, but we've also seen growth here, which is great. We love to see that additional participation. And again, our snack counts, almost 16,000 reimbursable snacks that we served at all grade levels this year, which is a great opportunity. And we are looking to include that within moving forward as well. So just nice to see some growth, and we hope for that to continue. And then one of the last things, just wanted to comment on some of the supply chain issues that we've, again, all sort of faced, but it's something that we've done our best to communicate with families, with be it secretaries, administrators, teachers, as soon as we know that, we ordered X product and we didn't get it in because it didn't come, or the truck was late, or whatever the case was. So we have battled these, but Aramark has really tried to leverage partnerships and do their best to make sure that we're getting what we need, at all means possible. So it's something that has been important to us. We know that if kids come to school and they see that pizza is on the menu and we don't have it, we know it can be a huge disappointment, or possibly sort of be the worst part of their day. So we really have made an effort to make sure that we can still offer, what's on the menu, despite the challenges that we have faced that are certainly real. So I would say that's been the biggest challenge of being in the food industry over the past couple years, but we certainly have done our best, and it's at the top of our radar in terms of getting ahead of the issues that we foresee. So we hope for that to improve too. And then I'll let Michelle talk about the upcoming school year. And then Kevin, you can sort of halfway through when she references the pod, you can also toggle to the next slide to show a picture.
Like I said earlier, one of my passions is finding new ways and new recipes to offer our students and ways to serve them. As Molly mentioned, over the summer, we're excited for the high school to receive their pod, which would be a new, fresh way for students to use their purchase power and keep their money and spend it here at school. As you can see in the rendering, there's several different sections of the pod where we can offer snacks, drinks, hot items, and cold entrees. We're going to have plenty of grab and go offerings such as salads, subs, wraps, bento boxes, yogurt parfaits, fresh fruit cups, fresh veggie cups, pasta salads. We can even make hummus and have flatbread that we can offer them. The students will also be able to get their hot food entrees, their fan favorites such as pizza, chicken patties, burgers, which, we cannot take those away. Plus new items like Cuban sandwiches and even pastas. They're going to have snack and drink offerings, which I'd also like to expand. That's where our a la carte sales, the extra things, chips and drinks. But we can also offer pudding parfaits, which proved to be very popular in my previous district, as well as whole grain cookies and brownies, which taste great, but also meet our smart snack guidelines. So we're not just feeding them sugar, they're healthy snacks and healthy sweets. We're even looking into getting soft serve frozen yogurt machines, which is very exciting. We're also going to introduce several new menu items. One thing I noticed right off the bat is Brown Deer loves their pizza. So we're going to offer rotating specialty pizzas on a daily basis, in addition to our regulars. Barbecue chicken, buffalo chicken, meat lovers. We're going to have calzones, flatbread pizzas, even personal deep dish pizzas. Not all of those will be offered every day. My staff will walk, but those will be a rotating specialty. We're also going to offer more varieties of salads and sandwiches, taco salads, tuna salad, BLT chicken salad, things like that, buffalo chicken wraps. I'm hoping to bring back hot breakfast, hot fresh breakfast sandwiches that are still convenient for the kids to eat on the go as they head to their first class. Continue to offer new recipes. I love ideas. I take suggestions from the kids. I take them seriously. If I can make them happen, I will do everything I can. I'm thinking more like chicken fajitas, some lasagna, even a Mexican lasagna, made to order baked potato bar, made to order burger bars where they can have their sandwich topped in front of them. One of the suggestions that I would love to figure out a way to make happen is a made to order salad bar. That was one of the kids who wanted that. We'll also offer fresh fruits and veggies. We had a variety: grapes, watermelon, cantaloupe, strawberries, pineapple, kiwi, red peppers, cucumbers. All of those were huge hits with the kids, and those will definitely be coming back. So there's a lot of new ideas coming from me, from my staff. I welcome new ideas from staff here, students, and I'm excited for the kids to see them.
And that's it. We're grateful for the opportunity to present to the school board this evening. We love to take the time to do this. And so thank you for having us. And as always, thank you for the partnership. We love being in Brown Deer, and we love to serve as students and hope to do so for years to come.
All right. I think actually, you know, there was one thing that was wrong with your presentation. You should have been bringing some of those items for the board to be able to taste right now, you know, while you're doing it. You know, we're all a little bit hungry right now. And then you started talking about all these different kind of pizzas and made to order salads and stuff like that. So if you would have brought a little bit here for us to sample,
You know,
I think it would have went a long way.
I was thinking the same thing as Michelle was rattling those off. Like, hang on, is there a sample tray coming in? That's
Yeah,
not far-fetched. We can do that in the future for the record. So we'd love to feed the board, you know, sometime. Set that up with Kevin.
Just let me know what you want. I'm not good with seafood.
Okay, sounds good. Well, all right. Now on a positive note, on a real note, board members, questions for the team. Yes, Ms. Robinson.
So I have a couple of questions. So great presentation. Looking at the images for the Fork Farms, I think we just have that one unit, right?
We have 2 units, one in the middle school and one in the high school.
Okay. So is that enough to provide what we need?
So that was sort of what we started with. We will be purchasing more. The idea is to sort of find a home for them. They either have to be within a kitchen or sort of behind like a serving area to make sure that for sanitation purposes that they're not being sort of exposed. So we started with 2. We absolutely plan to have one at the elementary school. Sometimes if there's not room at a location, we would possibly have sort of a local area of them, and then like, you know, transport that fresh produce over to a site like the elementary school. I would say, is it enough? We are not self-sufficient on that lettuce. No, it takes about 21 to 28 days per harvest cycle. So we try to time them that when one's ready to harvest, the other one's, you know, growing. And so we do try to time them and have gotten sufficient training from Fork Farms, but we do plan to purchase more because in terms of the participation, being able to fill salad bars and salad entrees, we're still purchasing additional lettuce.
Okay. And then you mentioned a lot of different options that the students now have. What's the average cost of those items that we are offering, even with the new nest thing that you have coming? What do students typically have to pay for those items?
Sure. So the prices for the 22-23 school year in terms of entrees have not yet been determined. That would be a further conversation whether or not the prices will go up or not. But depending on the age level, I would say it's between $2.75 to $3.30, somewhere in between there. And we have to sort of see where prices land. But in terms of a reimbursable meal, that would include their entree, their side, so fruit and or vegetables, as well as a milk. So that would be a full meal. And then breakfast is more like around $2, I think. And again, those are for full paid meals. Reduced are 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch. Those are fixed, so those will not change. And then some students would be eligible, of course, for free. So.
Yes, we
All
do
right,
have to go
thank
through
you.
we do have to go through the process of, there's a paid lunch equity tool we have to run just to double check. And so the federal government is actually pretty specific about whether or not we have to increase prices. And so if they do, it might be a nickel or a dime per because they do want to make sure that they want to make sure that the supported meals by the federal government funding aren't supporting paid meals. So there has to be enough support coming from the paid group. So we will run that and announce what the prices will be very shortly.
Other board members, questions? All right, hearing and seeing that, wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. We look forward to it. All right, our next item is
Nope, we got to vote.
well, that was the report. So now we have to do the contract.
Okay.
Right. So this is the third renewal year, so the fourth year of the contract, and they are requesting the 3% increase, which is the maximum allowed under our meal program.
All right, thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to approve? Which would be 3E.
Let me come off of mute. Okay, here I go.
All right.
So Dr. Beadle, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 food service management contract renewal with Aramark as presented tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashley. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Dr. Beadle, I'd like to second that motion.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Macon. All right, motion has been made in a second. Any conversation or discussion?
Yes, so just wanted to ask a question with Mr. Klimick stated that that's the maximum allowed. So I guess I'd want to know what will the increase cover? Did I miss that?
So I'm gonna correct Kevin quickly. Sorry here. That's actually not the maximum allowed. There are school districts that actually have received up to 7.7% of an increase, depending on the type of contract. In our contract, which is a cost reimbursable contract, the district is actually billed back all of the food, labor, and direct. So the costs that are affiliated with that, with the increase in food and labor, the prices that have gone up, that actually is the district's responsibility. So Aramark is not taking this additional sort of increase that has come with inflation of, again, up to 7.7%. 3% is sort of the average flat. I believe last year was exactly also 3%. This year has been an exception that the DPI has actually allowed up to 7.7 just based on costs and all. But so in terms of what it covers, I would say it's just the average cost of business that, again, we, per our contract, our 5-year contract, this is written in that this is sort of the suggested amount from the DPI is 3% in a normal year. And again, this year it actually allowed up to 7.7% and we're at the flat 3%.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for correcting me, as she does often when I ask or I talk about food service, which she is much more knowledgeable on than I am.
Well, it's Kevin has however many hats. I'm just the food service hat, so that's our job. But yeah.
All right. Any other discussion before we go to vote? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor with a raised hand and or aye. All right. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Aramark, congrats. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's go on to our item number F. Approval of the 2022-23 personnel contracts. Mr. Clemick.
Yes, we have 4 individuals who receive single-year employment contracts that are different than an administrator or a teacher. And those include Rebecca Thiesfeld, who is our school psychologist at the middle high school, Trina Jackson, who's our human resource manager, Kathy Kelser, who's the district accountant, and Eric Jeffrey, who serves as the network administrator. So we're just asking for those 4 contracts to be renewed for the 2022-2023 school year.
All right, thank you very much. Will we have to do all 4 individually, or could we, since they're all going to be for the 2022-2023 school year, can we just make a motion to approve the employment agreements of all 4? We name all 4 individuals and then with the date, or do we need to do it, or do we need to do each one individual?
When I was on the board and the direction I had was that you could do hiring at the same time, as long as if you say who it is and their role, and then at the end, 22, 23, okay. That's fine.
Okay, all right. Would someone like to make a motion?
Dr. Vito, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement of Rebecca Thiesfeld, school psychologist, Katrina Jackson, human resource manager, Catherine Kelser, district accountant, and Eric Jeffrey as network administrator for the 2022-2023 academic school year.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Dr. Vito, I'd like to second.
All right, is that Ms. Bacon? All right, thank you very much. Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. And we'd like to thank Rebecca, Katrina, Catherine, and Eric for their continued service with the school district of Brown Deer. All right, let's go on to our next item. Our next item is item number G, approval of the district insurance coverages. Mr. Clemick.
Yes, this is my final piece for this evening, that we have been presented with our insurance renewals. This is not the health related ones. You did that earlier in the year, but this includes all of our property liability, educator liability, automotive, all of those areas, workers' comp. And I presented you a chart with the changes. We are looking at a total increase of 11.1% across all lines. Mostly everything went up except for automotive. The 2 big increases were in our package, which included the property insurance. And one of the drivers of that is the current cost for replacement for structures and buildings. So a lot of insurance companies are upping the values of those to make sure that they are able to support replacing or rebuilding if necessary for those situations. And then the cyber liability is another area that has seen some significant increases. Over the last 2 years, it's gone up about 60% for us. There's a number of companies that are getting out of liability for school districts. So, and one of the reasons why, as a district, we had to add multi-factor authentication, which I was talking to some board members this evening, and to know you're not always excited about, but having to get a text with a code. That's one of the tools that we have to help make sure that we are secure when it comes to our accounts and things, so that we're not getting hacked. So that's one of our tools to be eligible for insurance. But again, the total cost of all of those pieces comes in at just over $250,000.
All right. Kevin, question for you, sir. Actually, I have 2 questions. For the executive summary, paragraph 3, first sentence, line 1, sentence 1, what does MOD stand for?
It's called a mod. I don't know what it actually, can't remember if there's what it's an acronym for, but that is a factor where they use to determine your risk in workers' compensation insurance as to how, what the likelihood is of a claim. And that mod factor tracks over years. So we did see a decline. When I came on last year, it declined from the year before. This year it crept up a little bit. So it has to do with, there's 2 pieces. One is the amount of your payroll, because that's a factor in that. As your payroll continues to increase, the risk increases for them. And then it's also just what your workers' compensation history is like. So we saw a little bit of an uptick for that. And we do continue. Jody works strongly with her team to make sure that they're operating safely, but that also includes, other situations that may happen to any staff member that may be injured on site. So we didn't have a lot of claims, but we just need to make sure the claims we have are relatively small. But again, that they do look at that experience to see where that factor it goes. So I think we went to, I think we were at 1.08 last year, and we're like 1.14, I believe, this year. So anything under 1 is good. So we're not that far off, but we're working toward that again.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering, I didn't know exactly what that meant and what it stood for or whatever, in order for us to for me to be able to understand my part of this.
Sure.
And then
And the other thing that's confusing about workers' comp is that there's always a dividend that they pay out that the state kind of sets some limits on. So it's basically like a refund. And I'm not familiar with the workers' compensation market, but according to our consultant, this $40,000 dividend, which is basically a refund that we would get at a certain point of the year, which offsets the total cost of workers' comp, is one of the highest ones that they've seen. And they've since we switched to accident fund insurance company, we've had that $40,000 dividend for the 3 years that we've had them. So it's kind of a nice rebate in that sense. A lot of districts and other organizations are seeing that dividend decrease as people are trying to recoup some of the costs. So it's part of the factor of determining what vendor to use.
Okay. And then my second question is when I look at the total, we have the 11.1% increase from a budget standpoint within our line item for under insurance. Is that an acceptable number for us within the budget?
It doesn't really matter.
I mean, we got to do it, but
it's going to happen. So, but it is. Right. No, right. I mean, we now that we have the number, that's the number we'll put in the budget, but it may impact other things we can do, because that's one of those inflationary pieces that we're dealing with. So it just says when we start to estimate utilities and things like that, it is what it is, and we'll have to address it with the budgets we have.
So with the 40,000, with that 40,000, you were saying there was something about $40,000 that potentially could come back. Would that be less than 257?
It does reduce that overall cost, but again, workers' comp too is funny because that number is an estimate right now, because again, I have to supply them with an audited payroll, and so they may tweak it a little bit, and considering the increases we're looking at this year, our payroll is going to go up, so that number may shift a little bit. So I always have to pad it, just a little bit. So I can't give you the exact number, but that's where we're at right now based on the data they have.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any other questions for Mr. Clemming before we go into a motion? Yes, Ms. Peterson.
I just piggybacking off of that statement. I'm just curious, Kevin, so do you include the net in the budget, or do you just leave it as the gross, and then the net or the credit coming in is just additional revenue that we will receive, or do you include it as the net?
No, I keep it separate. So what you're seeing is the expense, and then the revenue is that $40,000. So there'll be two different lines. So we'll keep the 107,000 roughly will be the expense for this.
Thank you very much. An excellent question, Ms. Speaks. That's what I was kind of alluding to when I was wondering about the $40,000 and how would that actually come into play with this number. Any other questions from board members before we go into a motion? All right, would someone like to be able to make a motion?
Dr. Beta, I will make a motion to approve the property, inland marine, crime, general liability, educator, legal liability, automotive and umbrella insurance coverage renewals with American Family Home Insurance Company, the equipment breakdown insurance coverage with Hartford Steam Boiler Inspection and Insurance Company, the workers' compensation insurance coverage renewal with Accident Fund Insurance Company of America, and the cyber liability insurance coverage with Lloyd's of London /CFC for the 2022-23 school year.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
All right, Ms. Ashley. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ashley, thank you very much. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion before we go to vote? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with a raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously, 6-0. All right, Mr.
Thank
Clemming.
you. Thank you.
All right. Let's go on now to our item number 4, engage and innovative staff, approval of the 4K instructional calendar. Would that be Dr. Kelsey Brown or would that be Dr. Garrison?
I mean,
All right.
good
Dr. Kelsey
evening.
Brown.
Thank you. Good evening again, board members. We just would like to bring back to your attention the 4K instructional calendar. After having a discussion with our 4K teachers, there was a bit of a oversight for the what's considered a gentle start for our K4 students. So what happens at the beginning of the school year is our K4 teachers help other teachers in the building in those first couple days of school, including the K5 students that they had the year before. There's also instances to make sure that busing is indeed in place for our K4 students. And then there's also some additional testing that goes on those days when we start on September 1st and September 2nd. So this is at the request, this is historical. And Ms. Shimmons, I see you or saw you. If you want to chime in on what that looks like a little bit moving forward. But this is at the request. Again, this is historically how we have transitioned our K4 students into the school year. And so the request from our K4 team is for all of our K4 students for their first day to actually be on September 6th. And as we know, September 5th is Labor Day. So school starts on September 1st. So we have 2 days in the first week, September 1st and 2nd. Monday is September 5th, which is Labor Day. And then so the request is for all of our K4 students to report to our elementary school on a Tuesday, September 6th. So this was an opportunity for us to revisit just the K4 instructional calendar. And I thought I would bring it back to the board for your approval. So everyone understands where we are in this process. We will make the change or pending your approval, we will make the change on the instructional calendar and repost it to our website. But this is traditionally how we have transitioned our K4 students into their first year of learning here at the elementary school in Brown Deer.
Dr. Kelsey Brown, so day 1, which would be Thursday the 1st. So are we doing like A through L and then students M through Z, or for the 2nd, or how is this working? How are you breaking these students up?
No, so on the 1st and the 2nd, our K4 teachers will help Mr. Griffin and other staff in the building get help in classrooms. Remember, we have a large elementary school at 750 students. And so we have utilized the K4 teachers to help get the building settled with K5 through 5th graders. So wherever they're needed in those areas on those 2 days is where their support has been needed and requested. So on September 1st and 2nd, we would not have K4 students in our building. They would all come to us on September 6th, which is Tuesday of the following week.
Dr. Beal, they also assist the new K5 group as well. So those K4 students who are transitioning to K5, they also assist in those classrooms as Dr. Brown as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, board members, questions in relationship to this new K4 calendar?
I would suggest that it's not new. It's just, it was oversight on our part when we put the calendar together for the 22-23 school year. And this is as a result of Ms. Vanderboom, one of our K4 lead teachers, reaching out to help us understand what this should look like and has looked like moving forward. This is how we have transitioned our kids in historically.
So let me change my wording from new to revised. How does that sound? Is that better?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. As stated
right.
on the agenda. That's perfectly fine.
All right. So any other questions in relationship to this revised calendar? All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the 2022-23 4K instructional calendar revisions as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. The motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, who was?
Ms. Walker.
Ms. Walker.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye. All right, motion carries unanimously 6-0. All right, let's go on to
Thank you.
our,
Thank you very much.
to our next item is our parent engagement liaison presentation. Ms. Simmons. Uh-oh,
So-
raising the roof. Uh-oh, here we go.
So what you're saying is, can you hear me?
Yes.
So what you're saying is I have control on how much longer this meeting goes. It's now 7:43. I will try and make it brief.
All right.
Does somebody have the PowerPoint? Thank you, Kara. Okay, so Dr. Kelsey Brown asked me to come here tonight just to let you know about what's been going on, especially with the PAC, the PAC, which is the Parent Advisory Council. This is something we started in January of this year. So do I have the power to advance? Or is that Kara? Okay, so the Parent Advisory Council, we meet once a month. We have two teams. A team gold is for Brown Deer Elementary and team black is for middle high school. And the parents actually drove the discussion. I had them put their interests or questions on a spreadsheet. So each agenda, we would look at that spreadsheet, and that's how we would obtain our topics that we would discuss. For 2023, we met in May, and we decided what we're going to do for next year, like what's our purpose going to be. Team Gold, we talked a lot about connecting. Given COVID the last 2 years, they really want to connect with our school because so many things have been canceled. They haven't had special field trips and things that parents would come into the building normally, like muffins and moms, and there was one for dads, and they had learning math in the lunchrooms and things. So there's just a lot of things they haven't been able to attend, and so we're looking for ways. We had our first one tonight. We have play dates in June and August for specific grade levels where students can come and get to know other parents and other peers of their children. We had a 4K tonight. It was so hot, we ended up having it in the gym, and we did have about 6 students show up. And it's something new that we're trying, and we're going to do it again in August because it's closer to school, and then kids are a little bit more anxious and nervous and excited. And we're also going to survey all the parents as to when their availability is and what their interests are. And this is going to be done during registration. So in order to go on to the next slide, they have to fill out the survey. And then I can manipulate those spreadsheets to figure out, okay, we need a couple parents on a Wednesday afternoon, who's available? And I can personally contact those parents to see if they're available. And, you know, before when I was on the PTO many years ago, I was a volunteer coordinator for like 13 years. And that personal phone call really made a difference. And we really had a strong group of parents that would help in the schools and were available. And so that's one of my goals, is to bring that back and get more and more parents into the schools. Team Black, which is our middle high school PAC, we had a lot of discussion about what the needs were at the middle and high school. And they wanted to look at 3 different things, which we did. And if you click on that bottom, you can see the minutes from that meeting. And we broke it down into, we want a more welcoming environment and connectedness to the school. And we want to have some quarterly speakers that the PAC will organize in conjunction with our principals, as well as a math lab. We did a student survey with our middle and high school. We got about 600 responses. And by far, math was a need academically for our students. So we're trying to figure out, in conjunction with our staff, how can we get a math lab going? And the key to it, I feel, and a lot of parents agreed, is we really need our students teaching students, because the way I learn math is a lot different than the way the kids are learning math these days. So that's another thing that the PAC wants to concentrate on. So those are 3 things at the middle high school level that we'll be looking at. The meetings were Zoom, and they would like to have them be a hybrid. So I'm hoping to work with Ms. Turner with that, seeing how can we make every meeting be a hybrid so the people that are putting their kids to bed can still participate versus if people want to get out of the house, want to come face to face, or if we're working on projects, then we would need to be face to face more likely. So we're looking to appease the parents and, you know, because the big thing is we want them to participate. So connecting with supporting parents. Can we click on those, Kara? Thank you. Just what I've been doing this past year. I gave 25 tours and I was present at anything possible where parents were there, like open house, movie night, Bradley Crossings. We have a backpack giveaway that the district does. So I was there to see parents there. First day of school, I sat as the parents were leaving in case anybody had a question. I did that at the elementary and the middle high school, or just to welcome them, give them a smile, wave. The PEBT funds that some parents qualify for, I really want to make sure that they were getting those government funds. So I worked with the gals at the ASC and they told me the people who might qualify for that. And so I made sure that they applied and got that going. I did some personal homework deliveries for anyone that was on Zoom. The 4K teachers had a meeting for the 22-23 incoming families, and I made sure I was a part of that. And attended community safety meeting at the MAC, and I think there were a couple more things there. Is there anything else, Kara? I miss it. Oh, there was a professional learning that I did, and Ready 4K, that's something new that's coming out this summer, and it's free. So Dr. Kelsey Brown and Dr. Garrison were in favor of it. And essentially what it is our 4K through 8th grade students, parents have things that come to their phone via text, and it helps them to engage their children in their learning. It comes in 5 different languages, and the students, it just gives examples of how you can teach your children in real time, you know, like making dinner or setting the table, or you're out on a hike and there's different things that you can ask your child just to engage them in learning. And I thought it was really interesting. So we're going to give that a shot. Parents can opt out of it if they don't want to do it, but I thought it was just a nice way to engage a parent in their child's learning. We've done some community collaborations this year with clergy. I've worked with Rise Church across the street, United Methodist Church, and Crossway Church. We had monthly clergy meetings, and I hope to increase that next year to have more of our community churches involved. Bradley Crossing, we worked with the backpack giveaway. Officer Oleg and I made sure 5 families got free turkey meals for Thanksgiving. And one of the parents was Spanish speaking, so I had a really hard time. And my son Jake was home and he took Spanish in high school. So I'm like, Jake, come talk to this parent. And he did, and we communicated, we got him their turkey meal. So props to Jake for that. Badger Meter, we had 50 students that had holiday gifts donated by Badger Meter personnel, which was really cool. Sue and I worked on the CLC grant. She did the work. I got her the information and we got that grant. I'm so excited about that. $130,000 a year for 5 years. That is awesome. Brown Deer Junior Women's Club. I worked with soliciting what the needs are by contacting staff. The Brown Deer Elementary received money for their STEM projects and math toolkits for math, and middle high school received money for the Best Buddies program and for DECA. C.G. Schmidt, we can keep going here, and the architects, Plunkett, and the Brown Deer Rec Department, they all helped with our Falcon Friends. We had Thursday night enrichment nights where they came in to volunteer to work with our students. We had coaches and student athletes from the middle high school, which I think is really cool. And C.G. Schmidt and the architects did a great job presenting for that as well. A lot of hands-on things. Leroy Butler came in and actually presented to the whole district in face with our middle school. And then thanks to Kara Turner and her crew, everyone was welcome to be a part of that, kindergarten through 12th grade. via stream, and he did like a motivational speech. I want to make sure that I thank people that helped me do my job. And I just listed a bunch here. If I didn't have these gals and guys, I wouldn't be able to do this job. So I really appreciate them, because whenever I email them or call them, they help me out a lot. So any questions? 10 minutes, not too bad.
Board members, questions for the great one for Ms. Shippens.
I don't have any questions for you, Mrs. Shimmons, but I'm hearing a lot of good things from the parents about your group. So thank you for setting
Oh,
that up.
awesome. Thank you.
I really am, yes. Lots of excitement there.
Good.
Any other questions or comments for Ms. Shippens?
Man, I think it's really great. I mean, you're doing a lot of things on a part-time basis. I can tell that you're doing a lot more than a 20-hour week, and we really, truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was about to say it. If this is what retirement looks like, my goodness.
No, really though, I only put between 10 and 15 hours in. But you know, it's a full school year, so you gotta do something, right? But if you guys ever have any ideas, you know, Ellen, did you ever think about this or that? And I'm hoping with COVID going away that we can do more and more things.
Ellen, I just want to thank you for your leadership in that area. I know, so this is one of my goals, to establish a PAC. Many have heard me say, oftentimes we hear we cannot get parental involvement at the middle and the high school because the older, the older students become, the less parents become involved. And I was unwilling to buy that sentiment until we tried everything we could to make sure that we can increase parental involvement in our school district. So despite, some of the disruption that we experienced over the year, I want to thank you for your leadership in this area. And I look forward to what is yet to come to continue to increase parental involvement in our school district. As we know, our parents are an integral part of our work as we work and strive towards excellence to improve academic achievement for our students and our families. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that survey is really essential. That survey has to be done. So I know our middle high school parents, where they're at, what their interests are, what their passions are, what their schedule is. I really need information. So I'm working hard with Courtney and Amanda regarding that. So as long as that gets done, that should help.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right, hearing and seeing none. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Dr. Beadle, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ashley. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Walker is seconded. All right, all in favor with a raised hand and/or aye? All right, I call this meeting adjourned at 7:56 p.m. Everyone, continue to have a wonderful remainder of your evening and enjoy this beautiful weather, and stay safe. Thank you very much and good night.